Greetings, I am Pillar Nexus, the Ancient Gladiator, today with Pillar Loves Tabletop Games. Today with Spyrium, or Spyrium. It's during time of Victorian England, where the discovery of these crystals of Spyrium revolutionizes industry and kicks off the Industrial Revolution of the time. You'll be trying to utilize your workers and your resources to get the most victory points by the end of the game. As part of the setup, every player will start with 8 worth of money, pounds. So you'll start with 3 workers out of your initial 7. The remaining workers will go to the side of the board that you can recruit later. You'll have 1 token set aside for claiming events. The rest will go to the score track, the phases, and the residence track. And then you will start with 2 Spyrium. As for setting up the rest of the game, the event cards will be shuffled face down and then form a face-up stack. This is what will keep track of the time for the game. The decks for A, B, and C will be shuffled individually. The blue tokens will be mixed up face down. They'll be used during the game for certain random effects. And finally, each player's bonus tokens will go to the side of the board and will be used later as players reach specific milestones on the scoreboard. So, at the start of the turn, each player receives money equal to their residence value. Everybody starts on 2, so everybody gets 2 extra pounds. You can probably shortcut this during setup by starting everyone with 10. Then you'll take if it is the first round of the game, you'll take the top card of the event stack, and it is now the present event card that players can activate. You'll take the first 9 cards of the A stack and make a rectangle out of them. Cards that show a blue token. If they are characters, you will draw 1 less token than the number of players. Others might have a blue as part of the cost of the reward for getting it. You'll draw them and you'll put them face up on those cards. The randomly determined first player for the game who's holding this card will then take their first turn of the placement phase. To place, you must have a worker on your start card, and you pick a spot in between 2 cards. Alternatively, during this step, you may choose to activate the event. For example, this event lets you spend 3 to get 3 points or 6 to get 5 points. When you activate the event, you will take your event marker, put it on the event as a reminder that you've accomplished it this round, and you cannot do it a second time. Eventually, you will have placed enough workers that you're satisfied placing that you'll eventually go into phase 2. During phase 2, you have the option to remove workers to gain money equal to the number of other workers that are around a card. Let's just say, for example, we got people here, here, and over there. All right. So to make money, you'll pull a worker, you'll choose the card that they're adjacent to, and gain 1 money for each other worker adjacent to that card. If you chose this card, you would get nothing. But choosing this one gets you 2. You even count your other workers there. It's how you get money during the game to do other things. To do anything else is going to be an added cost based on other workers being there. So, if you wanted to take this card with this worker, it will cost an extra 2 in pounds. If I wanted to use this character, I would have to pay 1 more. If I was going to build this, no extra cost because no other workers. So calling on a character, again, you pay the surrounding worker cost. You will choose a token and then get its effect. For the miner, you would get Spyrium. You discard the token. As soon as there are no tokens left on that card, removing the worker will do nothing. Over here is a character that gains victory points. And over here are characters that you spend that money to activate the residency. Activates your residence area. It's a building that does the same for the residence. So with the residence track, wherever you are on the track, if you activate it, you can either gain that many victory points or go up a step. The steps you gain are permanent. Improving your position on the track means more money at the start of your turn. Using it for the points will get you closer to victory, though. If you're moving along the score track during the game and you reach 8 points or 20 points, you'll have your choice at the 8-point mark. At 8 points, you have your choice to gain either 5 additional money or 1 additional worker onto your start card. Whichever option you choose, you flip over, and it's no longer available to you. When you reach 20 points, the other bonus, the one you didn't choose, is what you'll get. But calling on characters leaves the characters there. If you buy a technique, again, you'll have to pay the cost for the extra workers, and it'll go to the left side of your start card. Each technique gives you something special that you can do, only you. Also, it gives you another way to get victory points to a maximum of 7 per technique, as long as you fulfill the requirements. So for this one, you have the ability to not need to use workers for your mine buildings. They'll probably show up further along. And at the end of the game, every Spyrium you have to a maximum of 7 is worth 1 point each. You can have any number of techniques. Finally, you can buy buildings, again with any extra costs from surrounding workers, but there'll be an additional cost based on how many buildings you already have. So here, there's no other workers. I would spend 3. It's also the first building that I'm buying. It costs nothing extra. If it has a plus effect, you will apply it immediately. This one lets you take residence action. This one gets you an extra worker from your surplus into your start card. Other buildings with various effects where you'll need to have workers and or Spyrium to use will come up. But this first building will be in the first slot next to the start card. The next one will cost an extra 1. The one after that will cost 2 as an extra. so on and so forth. You can build over buildings that are already there. If you do so, let's see, you do not have to pay for the new space, but you lose the old building and whatever value it's worth. These are how many points it's worth at the end if you have not discarded it. You can also replace an old building if it has one symbol in common. For example, there'll be like the mines or the factories. And if you replace those, you get a 3 cost discount to a minimum of 0. Buildings that can be inclined for effect can also be used during this phase. For example, if you have this building, you can incline this card by using a worker from your start card and turning a Spyrium to stock to gain 3 victory points. Alternatively, there's the mines where you can use a worker and incline the card to get a Spyrium. Just be things like that. Other things that might come up as you pull tokens off the cards, they will make a discard pile face up. And then when we need to draw more of them, we're only left with the discards. We'll turn them face down and mix them up again. Eventually, though, we'll reach the end of the activation step as there are no more workers out here for any player to pull. Once you're in the activation step, you cannot go back to the placement until the start of the new round. So you'll find yourself passing, and then everyone else will be passing, and then it'll go to the end of the round. The cards that were still out here are cleared away, any tokens are discarded. And we'll start the new round with revenue and a new event and new cards. The A cards are used for the first 3 rounds, and then the B cards for the next 2, and the C for the last one. The C cards are where a lot of the big points are going to be. If you've been preparing with workers and Spyrium and money, you'll be in a good spot to be. But again, people are going to try to surround cards to make them more expensive for you to try to get them. Eventually, at the end of that, at the end of that 6th round, it'll be on the game. You will count the buildings that you still have, their victory point values, and add them to your score. Any techniques that you've built the points for will be added to your score. Example, if I successfully got 7 Spyrium still in my stock at the end of the game, this is worth 7 points. If I got more than that, it stops at 7. If it's less than that, then I get what I get out of that. And then that'll determine your final score. Your buildings, your techniques, and whatever score you already had here combined will determine the score you have at the end, and the highest will win. There is no tiebreaker, which, okay, ties might be rare, but the fact that there's no tiebreaker is not a good sign. It would mean those players win together, which for board game league night is not acceptable, except on the off weeks. What should be used as a tiebreaker? Number of techniques, number of buildings, combined money, workers, and Spyrium, residence level, The last player to pass on the final round? I don't know. Oh yeah, in between rounds, it's just passes to the left. Yeah, the fact there's no tiebreaker is really weird. It's like I know ties might rarely happen, but you want to be prepared for any possibility of scores being tied. Yeah, that's Spyrium. It's an interesting game of placing workers, messing with your opponents a little bit. The sense that I get from this is it's like Halus, but not nearly as dick movish. I don't know. It's an odd, it's a curious game. This is one that I picked up at the auction just out of curiosity. They're along with figuring out a tiebreaker. They really, if they ever bring this game back, they need to reprint the letters on these to be more visible. It's just kind of it's the same color, so it kind of blends in. So it's not good for the visibility, you know. But other than those two issues, I think it's just an interesting game, and I definitely want to play it, and I kind of recommend it. Or this is a game from where's the credits in here? It's gonna be on the bottom of the box. You know, 2013. This game is more than 10 years old. So if this game gets a second chance anywhere, I just hope they fix the visibility on the those cards and the tiebreaker. But yeah, if you have any ideas for what would make sense as a tiebreaker for this game, let me know. All right. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Pillar Nexus, and I'll see you next time.